Hey guys, welcome to my top cut breakdown of the regionals that occurred on the 20th June here in Australia, run by TAC. I'm just going to get right into it. Sorry if my hair's a bit messy. I just got back from playing some table tennis, but I thought I want to get this out to you as soon as I could, so let's just get right into it. Alright, let me move my face because that's just in the way. Alrighty. So, first place we had Dark Broly GOGETA, played by Robert Striker. Second was VEGETA with David Liu. Third we had Android 18 with Victor Rivera. Fourth was Soul Striker with the Catapesla engine, played by Pete. I came fifth with King Piccolo. Lachlan Martin was sixth with SS4 Vegeta Ramp. Seventh we had Blue Yellow Mecha Frieza. And eighth we had VEGETA. Very diverse. Top Cup, the only deck in there twice was VEGETA. But besides that, really diverse. Some decks you definitely didn't expect to see there. Mainly the Catapesla Soul Striker and the Vegeta Ramp. I'm going to try to get both these guys to come in and come on and do a deck profile with me along with David. So hopefully we'll have some good profiles up for you. But yeah, it's a diverse top 8. And no King Vegeta, which was a bit expected. Australia doesn't have access to too many promos. When the sets get released, I don't think TAC receives enough tournament kits. Now, for those who don't know, TAC's like the main distributor and like tournament organizer in Australia, and I don't think they receive enough tournament kits to send out more than essentially one kit per store that consistently runs events. So once that first month is up, which it's been up, they just don't have the supplies. So they have to wait for it to come to the US, in which it gets backdated. But it can be quite difficult to get all these promos for decks like King Vegeta. And I've just never seen a King Cold player here in Australia, honestly. I know there's a lot in the US. Never seen one here in Australia. And we also don't have too many baby players. Most of the baby players that have top Australian events have come from the US. So those are two decks we don't actually see here too often from Australian players. And because this last weekend had so many events in the States, it was pretty likely that we didn't have too many US players. But yeah, that's the top cut. Let's just get into the decks that were played. God, I need to keep moving my camera because I keep getting in the way. Hold on. How about we just do that? There you go. Can't see my left arm, but that's cool. So we had Dark Broly GOGETA. Now, pretty similar to Dark Broly, except these 4 cards are now staples, and essentially all 4 ofs, maybe 3 ofs. This GOGETA is a 3 off, but the rest are all 4 ofs. So this is like the main change to the deck, and the reason it happened is these 2 cards came out. The GOGETA and the Vegeta thwarting the Dark Empire. Now this Vegeta can easily be replaced by the TP promo GOGETA, but once again, TP promo Vegeta, but once again that came out in this set. So we got good 30k Vegeta Zenos. I don't even know if we had Vegeta Zenos of 30k power before this, and because Union Fusion has to be the same power, you have to have 30Ks. And 30Ks in Dark Broly synergize really well. Now, the GOGETAs essentially replace the Gravy engine. Gravy, when you comboed with it, moved 2 black battle cards from your warp back into your discard pile. And what Gravy does, what the GOGETAs do is you can Union Fusion from the warp, which means you can move 2 back from your warp to your drop area, which does the same thing, except you get extra effects, right? This GOGETA is a blocker, and it warps a barrier. It warps a battle card with an energy cost of 4 or less, ignoring barrier, which is really good. It really hurts decks like King Piccolo. It hurts Invoker a lot. And it can hurt just lots of decks that just spam weenie things out. This GOGETA is nuts. It's a 25k double strike when it attacks. It warps one of your opponent's battle cards. Really good card. SS4 Goku Beyond All Limits. When you overwhelm it, you choose a black battle card between energy cost of 3 and 7, and return it to your hand. So what's something you can do is you can overwhelm with this to get one of these two back if you need to, and then go again and play one of these two. So for 1 energy, if you wanted, you get a 30k and a 25k double strike, where the 25k double strike stays on the field. So it's pretty nuts. And then SS4 Vegeta, thwarting the Dark Empire. Now you either play this one or the TP Vegeta, but this one is a critical overwhelm 4 that costs 1. When this card attacks, you may place any number of opponent's battle cards in the warp that add up to an energy cost 4. I'm pretty sure that's the wording. Don't have it off the top of my head. Don't have one around me, unfortunately, but I'm pretty sure that is the wording of the card. So very good. The TP Vegeta, when you overwhelm with it, your opponent warps a card from their hand. So they're both good. This one aims towards a more board control version of the deck. I initially started testing this with the one that warped a card from your opponent's hand. However, with this Gogeta build and the engine, these both warp battle cards, which means warping battle cards. If you focus around warping battle cards, you get and you do that really well. It's really hard for your opponent to like maintain a board. So getting rid of them is something pretty good to do. It's also critical, which essentially warps one card from your opponent's hand. It is overwhelm. It does cost 1 to overwhelm though, which is a bit of a shame. I'll go on to the next one, VEGETA. Now we had 2 finishes with VEGETA in our top cut, and VEGETA also got this Gogeta, because this Gogeta does not need to be in a Saiyan only deck like a lot of the other Gogeta cards. Now for those who don't know, VEGETA is a busted leader. If you have 20 or more cards in your drop area, and you have no cards in your deck, you just shuffle your drop back into the deck instead of losing the game. Really nasty. Both sides burst 5. And I'm pretty sure everyone knows what the Gogeta Saiyans do. Well, this like Vegeta engine cards do. You have the Vegeta Zeno, the Trunks Zeno, the Supreme Kai, and the Gotenks Unison. They all play themselves when they're milled. So I think everyone knows that's where VEGETA gets most of its advantage from. But it now has this Gogeta, which means when you overwhelm with something, you then get a Goku and a Vegeta on the warp. Because a lot of the time you're milling like your super combos, you're milling this True Fighting Spirit, which I'll talk about in a second. And then you can play this, and it's a 25k double strike. Now, the VEGETA builds also play the 30k Vegeta, which I just showed. Goku that I just showed, the Son Goku Beyond All Limits. This guy here. So they can easily get back the Gogeta to play it if it is in their drop area. But next thing I'm really going to talk about is how VEGETA isn't the most aggro deck in the format. The most aggro deck in the format is Reba Gohan in best of 3 and Majin Vegeta in best of 2. However, both of those decks don't punish your opponent for playing defensively. However, VEGETA can punish your opponent for playing defensively with these 3 cards. So Koi Sakai, when it's in the drop, you can pay 1 and remove it from the game. Then you can bottom deck 2 cards if you do bottom deck up to 2 cards, and then draw the number of cards you bottom decked. So it's a bit of cycling, which is nice. And then if your opponent plays a battle card with 20k power or less, they warp 2. They warp 2 cards from the hand, which is insane. Dark Power Black Marseille. If your opponent plays a battle card with 15k power or less using a non-keyword skill, your opponent chooses 2 cards from their hand and sends it to their drop. So same thing. True Fighting Spirit. When your opponent activates a counter skill, they choose 1 card in their hand and send it to the warp. So for example, a Violent Raise, which doesn't stop the entire deck, it stops like the Gogeta plus a Overwhelm. It's going to lose 3 cards. So you're stopping 1 card per attack, but VEGETA just throws so many attacks at you that can all go up to 60k because it gets combo power with Kais and everything quite easily. It adds up. Then you've got both of these are self-awakeners, so take life 15ks, which help a lot in dealing the damage, like pushing through. So all these cards stop defensive plays, like these 2 stop Drums and King Piccolo, or counter plays, or Topos, or Poutines, or Mecha Frieza. Well, This guy doesn't stop the negate ones, but he stops Poutine and Topo and Mecha Frieza Robotic Riposte. So Vegex really punishes your opponent for playing defensively. It's pretty insane. But that's Vegex. Let's move on. Android 18 mil. Now, I haven't actually talked to Victor, but I've just been told he played this, so I could be wrong. If I am, someone let me know. But I've been told this is what he played. Android 18 mil is an interesting one. It's kind of like Invoker in the sense that it gets to a certain turn and then it just wins. So for Frieza, it's turn for 18 mil. Sorry, it's turn 4 or 5, depending on how many tokens they have and how efficiently your opponent didn't draw through their deck. But basically, the way that the deck works, for those who don't know, is the leader. When the leader is placed in the leader zone, you play a scheme from your deck. The scheme, when your opponent plays a non-token battle card, at the start of your opponent's main phase, play 2 clone tokens onto your opponent's side of the field, and Android 16 says, auto once per turn, when a clone token is played by the skill on one of your extra cards, aka 21 scheme, play 2 clone tokens to your opponent's battle area. So, you play 2 here, play 2 here. So in total you get 4 battle cards per turn. Frieza, when Frieza is played, choose all of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and they get minus 30k power. And then your mills 2 from your opponent's deck for every battle card that gets necked. So it's pretty nuts. This comes out of Rebirth of Justice, which is a 4-cost blue extra card, which plays a 5-drop blue or less. But blue has a lot of access to defense. It has God Sealing Technique, Heroic Prospect, it has Baby Hatch, has Dimension Magic. So it can play really defensively. Potentially a bit better defensively than Invoker, because a lot of its like big negates cost less, and it can also play Baby Hatch, which is a big one for defensive. Baby Hatch is insane. That's Android 18 mil. People are starting to figure out ways to beat 18 mil, but as it's not super popular, it's like, do you main those ways? For example, King Piccolo, one of the reasons I put Wolfang Fists in was because if they Rebirth of Justice, I go Yamcha to negative 15k, they swing, I go Wolfang Fist, the first order goes off and all my battle cards get necked, but the second order doesn't get off because it's dead before the first order goes off. So the first order goes in pending, it then dies, first order resolves, it's dead when the second order would go into pending. And also Vegeta just beats it. Dark Broly can run Petrification. Blue can God Sealing Technique it. Green can Frieza's Charismatic Villain it if there's no Unison in play. But there are outs. There are most definitely outs. Yellow can Cold Bloodlust it, right? But it's whether people see the outs. Is what kind of matters. But that's 18 mil. Let's move on to, oh gosh, I'm always in the way. Alright, you know what? We're going to take up this bottom corner now. No, we'll take up the top. We know what Cop does. I'll go back to the top. Soul Striker RoboCop. Now, Soul Striker, for those of you who don't know, sorry for the very low quality picture. When this card attacks, so on the unawakened side, you draw 1 or untap 1, your choice. When you awaken, you draw 2 at either 4 or less life or Unison with specified cost of 3. Then on the awakened side, when you attack, you draw 1, untap 2. Now, the Cop chain. The 1-drop Cop looks at the top 7 cards, adds another Cop. The 4-drop Cop is a 15k dual attack barrier, so you can attack once, let it chill in active mode so it doesn't get swung at, and it kind of just survives. The 5-drop, and that's the X Evolve 1 to get the 4-drop out. The 5-drop pops something when it comes out, and it's a 25k double strike crit. It doesn't have barrier though. It costs 2 to evolve into that one, and then this 6-drop costs 1 to evolve in. So it's a 30k double strike critical dual attack with barrier, and when it evolves into this card, just switch it to active mode. So on turn 1 you can play 1-drop, on turn 2 you can play the 4-drop, plus have 1 defensively. Then on turn 3 you can evolve into the 5-drop, swing, awaken, draw 2, swing with leader to untap 2. Well, you don't even need to untap 2. You can just pay 1 to X evolve the 6 drop, because that's your 3 energy, assuming you have 4 or less life. This is. Then you can swing twice with this 30k double strike critical guy, because he's got dual attack, and then retap untap 2 with the leader for defense. It's a very interesting deck. The Cop Engine is something that's always been messed around with in Soul Striker variants, because it's just such a nasty card. It doesn't always see success because there are a fair few aspects to it. For example, it doesn't have Deflect, so God Sealing Technique in a blue mirror will just ruin it. Yeah, so it's an interesting one. I will definitely try to get Pete on. I'm good friends with Pete, so I'm going to try to get Pete on to walk me through his matchups and his list and all that good stuff. Next we had me on King Piccolo. I'm going to move myself again. Let's go over here. I don't want to talk about King Piccolo too much because I made a deck profile to that, so go check that out. It'll be one of the other videos on the channel. If I remember, I'm going to put a link in the description to it. Gotta remember to do that. We'll get there eventually. But yeah, King Piccolo is a busted card. I've talked about it a lot, a fair bit on the Vamp Pro Elite channel, and now here on my own channel, talking about it once again. The deck's insane. I don't know what else to say about it. It can struggle against Vegex, it can struggle against some of the other decks, but a good pilot always finds a way to push it through just because it has so much inherent advantage. But definitely check out my deck profile if you want to hear more about King Piccolo. If you have any questions, leave in the comments below. I'm going to try to be as responsive as I possibly can. But yeah, that's King Piccolo. Let's just... no, backspace. Okay. SS4 Vegeta ramp. Now, this is a deck we definitely didn't expect to see top cut here. Let's just move myself. No, that's not what I meant to move. We're going to ignore that. Nope. Alright, we're just going to move myself to the middle here. That's cool. We're just going to keep moving myself around because why not? SS4 Vegeta ramp. Now, this is a deck that we didn't expect to do well. I'm going to have a quick sip of my McFrappe before it dies. Alright, well, basically, on both sides of the leader, it states, if this attack deals damage to your opponent's leader, look at the top card of your deck. If it's mono blue, you place in your energy and rest. Otherwise, leave it on top of the deck. So it runs this Son Goku Power the Great Ape Unison. This is the unerrated version, because they made boo-boos on the initial printing of it. But basically, you play it for the +1. And the +1 says you choose one of your mono blue leaders and he gets 10k power of the turn. So early, it's very easy to push that damage through. Now, on the Awakened side, has the same effect. However, once per turn when your opponent activates a counter skill, you gotta switch this to action mode. So you make sure it's the first swing of your turn. If they activate a counter skill, you gotta restand it, you gotta do some other stuff, then you gotta swing with your leader again. Really good. Really, really good. However, the deck's actually never seen too much play. So it's pretty surprising to see it here. I will definitely get a deck profile on this. Talk to I think it was Lachlan. Talk to Lachlan about what his matchups were, how he went. But it's a unique deck. You got the SS4 Vegeta Rise of the Super Warrior, which when you play it's a 30k blocker. When you play it, look at top 4 cards of your deck. You can put any number of mono blue cards in your energy and active mode, or in your hand, and you bottom deck the rest. Really good. And then Rebirth of Justice, as I talked about, it gets you the Freezer out, it gets you Abuni out, and also gets you Marichum out. Marichum? The bald guy, 20k double strike dual attack. Nice, nasty guy. But the important thing is, when you Rebirth of Justice, counter window 1 happens. And in counter window 1, that's when they have to blind counterplay. So that's when God Sealing Techniques comes in, that's when Cold Bloodlust comes in, that's when those type of counterplays come in. Now, in counter window 1, you don't have to decide what you play. So you can see if they want to do something. If they don't have a response in counter window 1, you can go, cool, I'm playing against green, so I feel like they're going to freeze a charismatic ability. I'm going to play Marichum, which has barrier. Or I know they don't have any answers to me that hit in counter window 2. So I can play the Freezer 100% Overdrive. or they used God Sealing Technique on me, so I'm going to a Booney. You have all those options. It's really nice. But yeah, I'm going to try get the pilot of this beautiful deck to come join me. I do have his list, but I do want him to talk me through all his choices and his matchups when I do make the video on it. So stay tuned, because we will get that one up soon for you. Next we have, oh geez, alright, we're just not going to see me for this one. Oh, actually no, we can cover some of our posts. We'll cover the top part of our post. Alright, so blue yellow Mecha Freezer. Now Mecha Freezer Robotic Riposte is a really good negate. That was the last champ pack. Most people who've played regionals know what the card is, just because this was the champ pack card they were looking for. It's kind of like the yellow version of Topo. Now, Violent Rush Blowjack is the key of the blue-yellow build. So it's got Aegis, so which means once per turn you can discard a blue or yellow card from your hand. If you do, you get to untap 2 energy. Now, it also has a auto. When this card activates its Aegis blue-yellow skill, you get a draw card. So you get discard 1, draw 1, untap 2. Essentially no downside. It's really nice. It's a really good engine. It can be a bit inconsistent if you don't see your blue-yellow cards. However, I feel like it will end up being the way to play Mecha Freezer, especially once the Zamasu becomes accessible. Now, currently the Zamasu is not accessible here in Australia, but hopefully by next regionals, we should get our promos, which will be cool. But yeah, it's a bit inconsistent because most decks don't run too many blue-yellow Bojacks, but when it hits really well. I've personally been looking at just the mono-yellow version of Mecha Freezer. I like that more because I can run Krillin Super Combo instead of Zamasu, because Power Super Saiyan essentially does what Zamasu does. Which means I just get a bottom deck more extra cards and hopefully see more battle cards to combo with. But anyway, that's the top 8. I'm pretty sure I went through all of them because there was 2 Vegexas in there. That's the top 8 breakdown. I hope you guys enjoyed and potentially learned something. I'm just getting into this YouTube stuff, so let me know what you think of everything down below. If you got any questions for me, let me know, and I'm going to try get you guys in the next couple of days, probably 1 video a day, or maybe 2 in one day if I am super efficient. But I'm going to try to get you a a Vegeta build. I'm going to try to get you that SS4 Vegeta build, and I'm going to try to get you that Soul Striker Cop build. I should definitely be able to get the Vegeta and the SS4 Vegeta, but we'll see on the Soul Striker one. I'll keep you guys updated though. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you guys next time. Have a good one. Where's my stop button? There it is.